I accidentally set up my Zoom meeting so that it would ask for a passcode. Can I turn that off now that I've started the meeting?
Oh,
Hey, how's it going?
hey, good. How are you? Hold on. I'm trying to
Ooh, girl, those glasses look fierce. Okay.
how are you?
I'll be better when I get this passcode thing sorted out.
Yeah, I was like, what did I miss?
No, no, you missed nada. This
Okay,
is
cool.
all
You have no idea. I'm
operator
so
error.
excited to be here because I've missed all of the stuff and because I've been like a crazy person, which I think I told you.
Yeah.
Um,
No,
so I'm so excited to
me
be
too.
here. I just got back from something and I'm like, I gotta hop on this. So,
I've got looks like a couple of folks looking for this thing. So this is an example of using AI, but then not following up on it like you're supposed to. So Claude Cowork can like go in and make your Zoom meetings for you and stuff,
oh, okay.
which it did, and so which is great because like it's administrative. It's kind of a pain in the butt administratively.
Right.
But just like anything else you create with AI, it's up to you to make sure that it is done correctly. And I could have done a better job of that. I
Hey, listen, we're all human. It happens, you know.
Did you just say that I'm human?
I know. Can you believe it? I said that you're human.
Oh, well, hey,
I
hey
know. I
Beth,
know
how's it
you're like a
going?
superpower, but I think maybe that's the human part of your superpower.
Yeah, I don't know. I just wanted everyone to feel normal, so I made a mistake on purpose so that everybody could feel that way.
There you
So
go.
you're welcome. What's up, Eric?
Keeping people on on their toes, huh?
That's right. I don't want to make it too easy. Dude, I was just in Austin. I literally flew in last night from Austin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was up there for our title company uses a software Qualia
Mhm.
and they had their conference in the JW Marriott downtown.
Okay, yeah.
The only bummer about my trip was like I was determined to take a Waymo and
I haven't done that yet.
I tried four times and it's hold on, I gotta let me I tried 4 times and it sent me 4 humans and I kept canceling and trying again and I finally gave up. I'll just have to try again. I saw a couple of them, but I didn't get to take one.
Yeah, I've seen them. I haven't tried one yet.
Somebody was telling me they were with somebody that tried to jump in the driver's seat, and you can, but it won't go. It stops and like says if you want to continue your ride, you have to get in the back seat or
Oh,
whatever.
interesting.
So, anyways, all right, let me keep an eye. I just want to look for anybody else that is trying to get in. I was explaining to Diane that this is an example of when you use AI improperly. I had Claude make the Zoom meeting for me, but then didn't double check the settings, which is 100% on me. I usually try to do it so there's no passcode.
Yeah,
Um,
that spoofed me. I thought it maybe this whole thing was a scam, and I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be clicking on things. I don't know what's
Yeah.
going on here.
you did you put your credit card info in like it asked?
I did, and my social security number too.
Oh, perfect. And then if you just want to shoot your mother's maiden name over, then we will be good to go.
Awesome. I hear I have money coming from Nigeria.
Absolutely. Uh, yeah, I got a couple more that I'm gonna send stuff to here. I think. Hey, Angel, how are you?
uh,
You
hello,
sound
hello,
uh,
hello.
you sound a little verklempt.
Me?
Yeah, your voice sounds a little. Do you have a cough or cold or
No, it
something?
was my birthday yesterday and I partied a little too hard, so
Oh,
there's
you go, girl.
that.
How do I see all my participants? All right, bear with me. I am okay, cool. Matt made it. Hey, Hillary. Sorry, everybody, for the mix-up on the passcode. I will fire the person responsible immediately. And of course, that's me. So I'm out of here. See you later. Enjoy your time. All right, let's give it just a few more minutes because of the snafu. As I shared, I was at a conference for a title software. You guys have probably seen it. Qualia is the software we use in our title business, and they had a conference this week in Austin, Texas, and it was pretty cool. As you can imagine, I'm sure if you've been to any conferences lately, it followed the same pattern where just about every other um, panel was about AI, if not every panel. Um, it's pretty exciting time. One of the cool things they did was they had the not the CEO, but the chief engineer from Compass, the real estate brokerage or whatever real estate brand, in talking about how they're using AI and building it for their agents. And I'm sure that's true across the brokerages. I'm going to put together some information from the conference and post it in the group. But it was overall a very, very good conference, good information. So let me go ahead and I'll jump in. I'm going to try and keep an eye out for anybody else that is asking to join. So I've been traveling quite a bit lately, and so what I decided to do for our call this week was to treat it like kind of a let's catch up on things because so much has happened in AI. I feel like April has been like one of the biggest months for AI news and whatnot in a while. Let's see, get that going. With ChatGPT released, ChatGPT 5.5, Claude introduced Opus 4.7, and then Gemini has introduced a couple of really cool tools. What I want to focus on are a couple of tools that I think are kind of the highest use or whatever, the highest usage to us as real estate professionals. So I'm going to talk about them and then I'm going to do a demo. And then I'm working on like a resource document, but this isn't, I'll share my prompts and stuff, but this is more showing you guys some of what has come out. Oh, let me turn my light on. Some of what's come out this month. And then whatever time or I don't have anything after this, so we can stick around and chat, talk about anything you guys are working on. So let's jump in. I'll share my screen. And the first thing I want to tell you is that this slide deck I created this slide deck with Claude Design, and I'm gonna demo for you Claude Design. It's pretty incredible what it can do with very, very, very little direction. So let's jump in to our slide deck. And as I mentioned, we're going to talk about ChatGPT image generation. It has evolved tremendously over the last month. And then we're going to talk about Claude Design. And then finally, we're going to talk about Google Workspace Intelligence. The big thing that's happening in AI is that things are moving from being chat centered to being more task or agentic centered, meaning we're starting to see the AI move from being your helper, like being your like your your kind of like fancier Google to now being like an assistant that can actually do things on your behalf. And so we'll start here though with chat's image generation. So if you've been generating images with AI for any length of time, you know that not too long ago, one of the biggest challenges we had in trying to generate images was if there was any kind of text. Like speaking personally, like I just knew in my head that if an image involved text in any way, shape, or form, I was going to generate my image in Chat or Gemini or Midjourney, and then I was going to immediately export that image and put it in Canva to fix the text. Like that was the workflow, period. There was no like you might get one or two words spelled correctly, but in general, it's spelled like I spell in real life. I don't need that AI. I need you to spell things. You don't want me spelling things. The other thing that was challenging, and this is more specific to our area of real estate, was you had to be super careful, and you still do, just to be clear, but it's getting a lot better. When you staged a room or did twilight imagery or whatever, when you modified an image, you had to be really careful that it didn't go too far. For example, I have in the past tried to use AI to stage a property and then it like totally reconfigured the structure of the room I was trying to stage, or worse, or at least we need to be careful not to misrepresent the condition of the home. Like I know we're trying to put the home, best foot forward when we modify the images, but we're not intentionally, or we shouldn't be intentionally, trying to cover up, potential issues or make it look better than it is. I know I've listed foreclosure properties for I don't know how many years, almost 15 years now. And that is something we've always, even when before AI, we would be accused of like, this looks totally different than what I came to see. And then that's one thing, but like when you're like, okay, using AI and it like, totally like puts in a fan. I've had to do that before. Put in a fan that's not there, or you want to be careful about stuff like that. The edits in AI, like so far, the ChatGPT edits have been really spot on. And again, I'm going to show those to you. And then you can kind of continue your style throughout. Like if you're trying to create multiple assets and want to maintain your brand and style, it's a lot easier to do in this new version of ChatGPT. So open house flyers, just listed graphics, neighborhood tiles, virtual staging, like I talked about. These are things that used to take us a long time, and we're going to do them right now in just a couple of minutes. So, yeah, let me pull up my Chat GPT and then I'm going to demo this for you. And this is actually a house that I now have under contract, thank goodness. Took long enough. This market is definitely shifting. I don't know about you guys, but Ocala, Florida takes us a minute to sell a house. All right, so here's my prompt. Oh, that's not my prompt. All right, let me get my prompt. There we go. Here's my prompt. And I'm going to drop in my prompt. So I'm just in regular Chat GPT and I'm going to pull an image from my hard drive here. And I'll pull the sunset image from the front. And I'm going to say place the attached photo in the lower two-thirds. And so this little creating image module little box here thingy pops up. You guys see my screen okay? Okay, perfect. And it says creating image, sketching it out. One of the things, Gemini does a great job with image generation as well. And typically, Gemini's been a lot faster than ChatGPT. ChatGPT in this round has definitely sped up. And so, this isn't the fanciest flyer in the world. I'd probably dress it up a little further. But what I want to highlight here is open is spelled right, house is spelled right, Saturday, May, everything here rendered perfectly. So it opens up a universe of possibilities of things that we can create um, with our image generation tools, where we would normally be like combining all this stuff together in Canva. One of the things is I was putting together the slide deck. Claude wanted to lean into the idea that you're going to not pay someone to do this for you. And I was like, nobody's really paying anybody. It's not about the money in my mind. It's more about the time. Like rather than take an hour to create this, which I don't know that this would have taken an hour. It's not the most advanced thing in the world, but whatever that time is, it took about 90 seconds. So that's a huge savings. The next thing I want to show you is just doing a simple staging. So let me pull up I'll just continue this rather. So this is what I did before. I'll show you in like in real time on ChatGPT. But one of the things that like would happen before is potentially this fan would change positions or this window would be on this wall all of a sudden. But it rendered it really well over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of recreate this same thing and say, please, because we want to be polite to our AI. Um, please stage this property in a style consistent with a Florida river home. And I'll say this um, bedroom. And again, I'm going to attach one of my pictures here. And we'll see that same like module pop up for creating image. And I appreciate you guys being patient with me with this whole issue with the passcode. That will be I will be more careful going forward. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't have any more emails, I don't think. AI debrief. Cool. And so now you can see, and I'll pull that up so that we can get a better view of it. Yeah, perfect. I got everybody. Okay. Let me pull this up for us. So it took a little different tack. It doesn't look exactly the same as it did before, but it did a nice job of staging the room. Um, let's see here. Now, let's say that I don't love this style and I want, can we do something more modern? Let's see, chat English. Um,
Did your original unstaged picture have that air return in it in the ceiling?
it did, yes, sir.
Okay, I did. Okay,
Yep,
I didn't catch that. All right.
yep,
I was like, that's a
yep.
weird thing to add if it was going to add something.
Oh, wait, where did this hole in the wall come from? No, yeah, that's in there. And that honestly, I appreciate you highlighting that because that's totally what I was getting at is like it might remove the air return or
Yeah.
do goofy stuff like that. And it didn't. So okay, in this case, chat decided to say, no, I kind of like, well, I guess it did make some tweaks. The lamps are a little different, but it definitely leaned into the same sort of ethos or whatever. But all said, This is pretty darn good for 90 seconds and a prompt of please stage this bedroom in a style consistent with a Florida River home. So, with ChatGPT's new images, and let me pull this back up. So some ideas, and I'll include these prompts in the resource document. The do a just listed tile, square Instagram tile with the headline. You could replace your information into that prompt, or if you're redesigning your yard sign. And again, we just did the staging. So those are some ideas of what you can use ChatGPT to create. I mean, honestly, I see it as this is now all of a sudden become, your one-stop like listing collateral material creation. And you could probably create some, custom GPT or something that'll, um, although those I guess are kind of going away. Okay, he got it. All right. Just some ideas on what you can do with the image generation. Anybody using ChatGPT or any of the image models for anything in particular, any use cases you want to share, either in the chat or feel free to come off mute and share with the group? I use image generation, Gemini a lot, but image generation for a lot of my social media posts, just to give them a little flair. How about you, Diane? You've got your hand up. What's up? Oh, I'm sorry, Diane. Can you unmute?
Sorry, I thought I did.
Not at all.
I happen to use Claude for a lot of image generation and a lot of marketing collateral. I think I just think it just seems to be a level above in terms of you can really guide it well and give it, you know, a luxury feel and it will just understand it. And then from then on, it will produce anything you do, any open house flyer, anything with the same kind of style that it knows you like.
So is that in like Claude Code or
No,
Cowork or
just regular Claude.
really?
That's
Okay,
where I
cool.
design all my open house flyers.
Mm,
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah,
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Cool, cool.
Hey Clay, it's
Yeah,
Angel.
hey Angel.
Hey, so I been using to create, my social media banners and things like that, and it generated a really cool house and image, to our local area style. But I want to break it down so I can send it to a graphic designer. Do you have any recommendations on how do I prompt it? Be like, okay, using this image, or actually, I used it to create a for sale sign with
Yep.
the logo and the image and the text. How would I prompt that to break that style down to individual PDFs to send to a graphic designer?
I, not to oversimplify, I would say that to the model, like just say, okay, now I want to send this on. They've requested it in whatever the format. I know sometimes I think they ask for like SVG or something, and
Right.
it may not be able to do it itself, but it may be able to walk you through how to do it.
Oh, okay.
You may have to move it into Canva to break it down. Um, I'm not quite sure. So I'm happy to follow up on that. But my first step would just simply say to the model, "Oh, this is awesome. I love it. Now I need to send it on, and I need to break this down into these components." I would first say, "Can you do that?" And if it said no, I'd say, "Well, then can you tell me how to do it?" And my expectation is it would walk you through.
Okay, super awesome.
Cool. All right, let's take a look at, and this is really fun. Claude Design. So literally, this morning was when I finally got to mess around with Claude Design. As I shared, it helped me make this. Helped me as if I did anything. It made this slide deck for me. Sorry, I want to present full screen. So it made this slide deck for me on a very simple prompt. My prompt was I mean, I don't remember off the top of my head, but it was just plain language. I didn't make any kind of fancy prompt. I said, I need to do a slide deck for my class today on the April AI debrief. I really want to highlight ChatGPT's image generation, Claude Design, and Gemini's new Google Intelligence or Workspace Intelligence. That's it. And then it built this. And then we had, well, what it did first was it asked me a series of questions. Then it built the slide deck. I reviewed it and made changes. For example, and this one, I got a kick out of this. Instead of Claude Design, it said Clay Design. And I'm like, you're literally the tool. You are Claude Design. But it thinks so much of me. No. So I did correct that. And then, and I'm going to show you this. It is crazy. So yeah, it's basically you tell it what you want, and then it asks you some questions, and then it designs it. And one like what I did was I made a landing page for that same property that we were just looking at. It's it's crazy how incredible it was. Very quickly, it built it very quickly. This is literally the prompt that I used. So here's my listing information as well as my images. Can you please create an interactive landing page for this listing that highlights the area and the property? Please include a section on the outdoor activities in the area as well as the advantages of USDA financing, which this property is likely eligible for. And I want to be really clear about something. What I gave it, the the RPR report, the listing, and I think the realist report. I just pulled whatever I had in my folder, but I didn't tell it specifically about the outdoor activities in the area of the house. So I want to show you what it came up with. And I think I actually have to like back out of this. This is what it built for me. Now I mean, this is the same image I used on that open house flyer. So it pulled the image. I started at 239.9 tier. I've had to reduce significantly. I am finally under contract. This is actually like my house, not a listing. Um, oh, that's a much longer story. But again, it made this beautiful landing page, put together a gallery. Okay, so then it built this little map for me, which is accurate, but nowhere in my stuff. It came up with this, along with, okay, it's by Rainbow Springs, downtown Denellen, et cetera, et cetera. And then, like, this is really cool. It pulled these areas as, nearby amenities and it captured the, okay, you can tube, kayak, swim, picnic. Then it came in down here with the USDA information. And then it's adding, it created this mortgage calculator. See, look at that. Freaking unbelievable. Dynamic mortgage calculator. It created this, like, and it took a few minutes, but nothing crazy. It's got a little comparison, and then it's got this like it's got a little call to action to schedule a showing. And it's got the buttons at the top here that will help you navigate. I don't know about you. This isn't a time saver because that would imply that this was something I could have built prior to this. No, this is something I would have had to hire someone to do. Now we can make things like this super easily. I'm going to close my door real quick. Hey, baby, get out of here. So, like I said, you can make things like this. You can make all kinds of lead magnets. Like that's one of the things. I don't know if you guys follow a guy named Nick Niehaus, Niehaus. He's big on, moving from using like static PDFs as lead magnets to using, more dynamic lead magnets that you can create with things like Claude Code and now with Claude Design. Angel, that's the million-dollar question. So again, I've just started playing with it. So I'm sorry, Angel asked in the chat, how do you put it on your website? And so I believe what you would do is you can have it, and you can see in the left. I'm sure it's kind of hard to read because it's small. But in the left column, I asked, how can I deploy this or share it with others? And send is a single file standalone HTML, which is where you just download it. It's an HTML file. Then people open it and it'll open in their browser. It'll look just like this. Not exactly like, the modern way of doing things, but save as PDF, old school. And then you could do real web hosting. And so this is where it gets a little beyond what I'm doing right now, which is, but someone explained it to me and said it's super easy to set up net. How do you say it's net?
Netlify.
Thank you. Have you done this, Eric?
So not on Netlify, but I've started. It's funny that I came across you yesterday, because I just met with. I'm on a team, and a small team. I just met with my admin team right before this call, and I was discussing things that I want to help them start implementing to kind of get rid of redundancy on the TC side of things, all the admin stuff. So I've only been using Claude for like a month, maybe 5 weeks. And I've tried creating a whole bunch of different things. I created a habit tracker for myself that I'm hosting on a Firebase database
Hmm.
server, and I use a free plan with that. I have somewhat of an IT background, but not enough to where I could go in there and code stuff myself. So
Right.
Claude was just walking me through all the stuff. I told it, that I'm familiar with coding and just give me the instructions of what I need to do to set up the Firebase server, to give it the credentials that it would need to go in and do whatever it needs to do. But yeah, it's pretty sweet. I've got a prototype that I'm working on for the admin team. I've got another thing that I created for one of our admins. We have weekly sponsors for lunch, for our Monday meetings that we have, our team meetings. And so she's been having trouble keeping track of everybody. So I created something that once I deploy it, she'll be able to scan their business cards. It'll extract the information, put them into a database, and then make them available for scheduling lunches. And then she can keep track of when everything gets scheduled. And
Ah,
so,
man, that's
yeah,
that's awesome.
we're trying to plan a whole bunch of stuff right now. And I'm about to hit my team lead up and say, if you want me to do all this stuff, here's what I can do. I want you to pay me for doing this as well. So,
Yeah, yes, of course. Yeah, good for you. That's awesome. Thank you. So, Angel, to answer your question, I mean, the easiest way to do this would be to get the HTML code, which isn't complicated. You just tell it, I want the HTML code. And then most of your websites, whether that's a WordPress or like I use Go High Level, they have the option for you to drop in the code into like an HTML box. But if that's getting like, I'm not like, it's a little beyond what I would normally be comfortable with doing. Let me mess around with it a little bit and
you
see if I
can.
can create a guide. Yeah, Eric, what's up?
Well, I was going to say, whatever file, so as you're working through stuff in Claude, it creates the artifacts or creates the files.
Yep.
So, like one of the things that I'm working on, it has multiple web pages. And so those are just HTML files. So if I needed, once I created the database or the web server side of things, then it connected them. And so then you can just upload, or I have a way through the Visual Studio Code Developer app that it'll just deploy things and I type in a command. So then any changes I make locally to those files, it puts them up on the server. But very simplistically, if you already have your own domain, like through GoDaddy or whatever, then you can just tell Claude, hey, here's where my website is hosted. And it'll give you the instructions. And most likely, what it'll do is just have you take all the files that are relevant to that website. Or, like here, a landing page is pretty straightforward. It's probably just an HTML file. And then just upload that to your wherever you have your website hosted. And then again, it can walk you through all the steps. You don't even know how to do it. It can walk you through everything.
That is the beauty, right, of AI is literally which if you're like, hey, I don't know how to do this, it'll walk you through it. So Eric, I very much appreciate that. And yeah, so that's Claude Design. Let me jump back into our presentation, also built here in Claude Design. What I love is just like what a time for us all to be alive. All these things that we can do that even months ago would have been like out of reach are So easy. So like this is again, this is my prompt. Like literally, it's that simple. I made that prompt and boom. And one thing that does drive me a little crazy with like a lot of what you see about AI online is they make it sound like, oh, I just clicked this button and what Eric's describing that he's done, the things that I'm doing a lot. And if you've been working with it, you understand this. It's not complicated, but it's also not typically like, oh, I hit one button and it just happened. The people that are creating really great stuff with AI, they're building it like, just like I'm saying, like I used this prompt and bam, it had something, but it wasn't the final product. I have to mess with it and iterate with it, and then it becomes something amazing. And it doesn't take much effort, but it does take some effort. And I think that's the distinguishing factor between some of the crap that you see that people produce with AI versus when you see people producing stuff that's amazing. So when anybody says, "Oh man, you just hit a couple buttons," they're full of crap. I mean, it really is so much easier than it's ever been, but really good stuff takes effort for sure. Um, all right, so let's keep moving. So it's suggesting like you can make a listing site like we just made, a buyer's guide microsite, neighborhood page, or even, rebuilding your own site. I'm going to be rebuilding my site, and I'm definitely going to be working with Claude on that.
Would you like create a skill for Claude so that you could just resource its skill for these things?
Well, I don't know in design. So I'm going to jump to the homepage here of design. And it has down here setup design system. So this is where you would create, like you would put in your brand assets. So like, what does this say? Tell us about your company and attach any design resources you have. I don't know, and in fact, why don't we do what we always do when we don't know things? Does Claude Design make use of skills? Let's see what our good friend Perplexity has to say. Oh, nice. Designers have already built collections of design skills, research systems, UI, interaction, prototyping that Claude can draw on when doing design work. So, Angel, yes, yes, we will use skills in Claude design. Man, it's so cool. Things are moving so fast. I think, yeah, Hillary said it earlier. AI is getting totally overwhelming. Whew, it really is. But, the thing that I think is important to keep in mind is that it's really more about so I think the mistake we all make, and by we, I do not mean everyone else, I mean we collectively, is we see the AI and say, ooh, that's a cool tool. What problem can I use that for? Or how can I use that in my business? When what we really need to be thinking about, here are the problems I have. What AI tool exists to address that problem? Um, and like think about your systems and what do I do on a repeated basis, and then what AI tool will best attack that, or how can it's more in my mind still process and systems more so than it is AI. A lot of times I talk to people and they say I really want you to help me with AI, but it becomes very clear in the early stages of the conversation that it's really they need help with their processes and systems. AI can help with that, but it's not going to fix, you can't just throw AI at like bad processes and expect them to have a miracle occur. What's up, Diane?
Hey, I was wondering with Claude Design if there is a way to get sophisticated branding and logo because it's really mediocre out there when you go to these logo sites. It's just terrible. And I just figured, well, if there's some sort of tool, and I'm not great at Canva either, within Claude that or certain prompts that about, creating those brand assets you're talking about.
Sure.
How would
Yeah,
we do that?
I don't have enough experience messing around with Claude Design. As you were talking about logos, my mind went to Canva. And I'm still kind of getting comfortable with Canva's AI. But yeah, I think you're only gonna get so far with your AI generated logos.
Not even through like Notebook LM or.
No, I wouldn't use Notebook to design a logo. I would probably try here in Claude Design. I would try Canva's AI. Um, Gemini, I've used Gemini to generate not like logos for a business, more like logos for my Facebook group or whatever.
Right.
Um, so, those ChatGPT's new image generation's good. You can try those. You're probably still not going to get quite what you'll get from an actual graphic designer. I think they're still
Yeah,
earn their
I was
keep
worried
a
about
little
that.
bit, but it's really just it's the trade-off of I don't know, which one's worth more to you, the money you're going to pay a graphic designer or the value of the really
Right.
sharp logo. But I would if and I say this as I have Google Workspace and ChatGPT and I would try all the different ones and see what you like best. And do you have a Canva account as well?
I do.
Yeah. I would try that. I did use Canva to design some like their AI to design logos, and I thought it
I
did a
haven't
nice
used their
job.
AI yet. I haven't used it.
Yeah, I used their AI to create logo options, and I liked what it came up with.
Okay, well, maybe I'll try that because I haven't
Yeah,
done that yet.
yeah, give it a shot.
All right, thanks.
Cool.
Interesting, when I was doing my socials banners and stuff, and I put in my guide real estate under the Forbes umbrella, ChatGPT wouldn't print the Forbes because it was trademarked
Um,
or something.
yeah, yeah, copyrighted.
Yeah.
Would it let you upload it and then use
Well,
it,
I
or
did. Yeah, I
oh,
uploaded the
funny.
logo, but it wouldn't input it onto any of the photos or anything.
So then you probably have to tell it to leave a blank space for it and then drop it in Canva or
Uh,
something.
gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. What's fun. Gemini can be funny sometimes about copyright. You'll be like, "Hey, can you make this image?" You'll be like, "No, that violates copyright." And I'll say, "Well, can you make an image like this image?" And it'll be like, "Got you, bet. Here's your image."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That same. That's funny.
All right. Okay, so let's jump in here and we're gonna look at our sort of last thing that I want to look at, but it's the thing I'm the most excited about personally. I think it'll have, like in my business, um, I anticipate that of the things we looked at today, this is the thing that's going to have the biggest impact. And that is Google Workspace Intelligence. So, Google, if you are a workspace user, then you've got your Gmail, you've got chat, calendar, Google Meet, Google Drive, Docs, Sheets, Slides. Your information lives all over the place. And what Google has released is now what they call Workspace Intelligence, where Gemini can reference information throughout the workspace ecosystem to answer questions or generate information, etc. So, for example, and where did my, I'll just go ahead and pull up docs.new. And I want to get my prompt right here. Okay. So I've got again, another sort of simple prompt that I'll share with you. So I am in Google Docs and I'm not sure how well you can see it, but at the very bottom of the screen here, it says, this said, this is the Gemini. Write an email about it. It's giving me options. I have a prompt for it. So this is the Gemini prompt in Google Docs. And I'm going to say, uh, pull the details from 20193 Southwest 83rd Street. All right, so this is all I'm telling it. This is the same property. Oops, same property we were looking at before. And what I love, see down here where it pops up the little logos, the Drive logo, the Gmail logo, it's collecting info. It says this might take a minute. Well, that's okay. We got nothing but time here, Gemini. You just take your time, buddy. Shrink this down. No, where did my zoom go? There we go. Okay, so you saw that all I said here was to pull the details for 20193. I didn't give Google Docs any other information, so it was able to go into my drive and pull this information together, put together my MLS description, email to my sphere of influence. But the point being, like, because I mean, I feel like we've talked about this stuff previously on our calls, how you can use AI to make a listing description or write an email or whatever. What I like about this, or what I'm excited about, is just that I didn't have to go into Drive and then pull out my listing information and then upload it to Gemini, and then Gemini reads it and then gives me the information, and then I copy and paste it somewhere else. One of the things that like exhausts us, are all the little steps that we have to take to accomplish our work. And the more we can eliminate those little steps, the lower the load is on these noodles in our heads. So this is, it created all this information, from the info it pulled out of my Google Drive. Now, one thing that I'm really excited about, let me grab my email, and I'm gonna change this to my okay. So this is like, this is my email at my title company. And let me pull my Zoom back up. This is what I'm most excited about. Okay, is this is in your chat. So this is like if you use Gmail and use chat, you're probably familiar with this window here. Well, there's this new Ask Gemini chat. So I can come over here and I can say, um, what is our process for issuing an EMD refund? To issue an EMD refund, you must receive a cancellation form signed by both parties, which includes the buyer and seller's name, the property address, and instructions on who should receive. If the party requests a wire or new address, they must complete the disbursement instructions. I mean, come on. Like, so now what's happened is I can sit a new person down at their desk and say, hey, if you can't, reach, if somebody's not available, you can ask Gemini. It can answer any of your questions. You can also come in here and say, and since it's my file, I'll use my own name here. I'm in the process of refinancing something. And I can say, where are we on the layman refinance? I was so freaking excited when I saw this the other day because like I've been trying to work on something like this for my team where I make them a little chat bot. It's like I don't have to make anything. Gemini just made it. So the refinance is nearing completion. You've successfully provided the requested documentation, including the EIN. The loan processor is currently waiting for vesting change addendum. So like you can, I mean, to me, like that as a team leader would be such a tremendous weight off my shoulders to know that if they can't get a hold of me, they have this tool now that they can ask, provided that the information lives in our Google ecosystem. So I want to remember stats on demand. It also picks up your voice because it's using your thing. So you can use it in your Gmail to draft emails. Make this full page. Say, uh, can you write an email to a seller explaining our wire out process? Dear seller name, I am writing to explain our process for wiring out your sales proceeds. To ensure a secure and efficient transfer of funds, please follow the steps outlined below. So it has outlined. So I'm just showing it. I didn't tell it any of this. It just pulled it out of our existing information. So I see this as a huge lift for anybody that's in the Google Workspace environment, because it's going to reduce the amount of just friction information. I'm reading a book, I don't have it on my desk, called Building a Second Brain. And it's basically about how we are inundated with content and data and information. And the real superpower is having that information accessible at the point in time in which you need it. And I don't know when it was written, but I'm pretty sure it was a little before AI. I think he talks a little bit about it. But now, that's what I'm working on right now is trying to distill information that comes in into a accessible format. But tools like Google Workspace Intelligence reduce the level of effort to make our information more accessible. I hope that made sense. But yeah, that's the one I'm the most excited about. So what we looked at today, ChatGPT images, Claude Design, and Google Workspace Intelligence. Um, and I'm encouraging you guys try something this week. And like I said, I'm going to send out like a email with a replay doc or with a resource doc that will include prompts and I'll include our homework here. Make an open house flyer or some collateral material with ChatGPT. Try out Claude Design to do like a quick site, for a listing or for yourself. And then use Workspace Intelligence. Just ask it about an active deal and see what it comes back with. And then we'll open up for questions. And I'll start with Angel asked a question in the chat. Here, let me stop sharing my screen so it doesn't take up the whole deal here. Oh, thank God. I just thought to myself, I hope I'm recording this. And yes, thank goodness I am. I'm off my game today. Let me stop my share. There we go. It's too much travel. Um, so anyway, okay. So Angel asked, would I keep my documents in Google Drive or Notebook LM? Generally speaking, I keep my just broadly speaking documents in Google Drive. So like transactional documents, process documents, it's all going to live in Google Drive. But I will build notebooks for specific use cases. Although this changes things a little bit. And what I mean by that is, I had been working on a notebook for my title team that had all our process manual stuff in it. That may still have a place, but now with Google and with Workspace Intelligence, I'm not sure that's necessary because my thought process was the notebook would become the chatbot that they chatted with to ask questions. I don't know if that's necessary. And one of the things that I always try to keep in mind, especially when I'm building tools for my team members, is any friction, meaning having to move from one app to another app, reduces the likelihood that they're going to implement or use the tool I build for them. So if this thing are like, meaning Google Workspace Intelligence already lives in the chats they use chat all day long. Sometimes for work, sometimes to send funny memes to each other. A lot of times it's just to plan what they're getting for lunch, but they're in there all day long. So with this tool already existing in there, just providing them that access and saying our processes live there reduces some friction. So it was a really long way for me to say I'm still a big Notebook LM user and I love it. If you're asking where I keep my docs, like just generally speaking, all my docs live in Google Drive. And then I build notebooks for like specific use cases. Or another thing I use it for all the time to learn something new. Like, for example, today in preparing for this class, I built a notebook on Claude Design, pulled in, a bunch of different data on Claude Design, and then used that to help inform how I was going to lead the class. So, does that answer your question, Angel?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. What other questions do we have? And it doesn't have to relate to what we're talking about today. I mean, honestly, I built today as the catch up slash ask me anything simply because just with coming off of this conference, I didn't think I'd have enough time to prepare something a little more in depth. We'll get back at it next Thursday with I don't know what yet, but something informative and fun. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, Eric, I see you're off mute. You got something,
Yeah.
buddy?
So when you were starting to show the workplace or the workspace Google stuff, I thought what you were getting at was something that I've recently started using in Claude. I've been using it in Cowork, where I have a scheduled task that will run like at 3 o'clock in the morning. I just pick some time before like the peak window
Yeah.
hits of token
Yeah.
usage. So, and what it's doing is it'll scan through my emails and it'll basically build me an agenda for the day. So it looks at my calendar, it scans my emails, it tells me which ones need attention, it tells me where I should probably prioritize my time for the day. And so every
Yep.
morning I get up, bam, there it is. That's what I thought you were getting at. I haven't even done anything with this Gemini
Are you a
integration.
workspace user?
Yeah, we
Well, yeah,
are.
Keller Williams, yeah, you guys get all that
Yeah,
stuff. I,
we
I
are.
would check it out because one thing I found with Claude is that I haven't really approached my Claude usage any issues with that, but what I have run into is some of my connectors, like through Zapier and stuff. I've racked up quite the bill with Zapier, and the biggest issue was more inefficient design than anything else. I sort of took for granted that cowork would take the path of least cost. And it wasn't like, I don't think it was anything nefarious. I just don't think that's how it's built to think. And so what I've learned is to tell it, okay, here's what I want you to do, but I want you to tell me, is there a better way to do it? And what it started helping me do is like design some app scripts and stuff to scrape information out of spreadsheets and CSVs and whatnot. And so, but if you're already on Workspace, I would try to recreate it here and see which way you like it better because I think
Yeah.
it's that's what it's. I think ultimately I just wouldn't, and I'm not implying you're doing this. I just, when I think about who's going to end up on top, I wouldn't bet against Google because they have such deep pockets, they have such market penetration, and they just, I just think that they'll end up with something really cool to compete with cowork.
Yeah.
They're not there yet, but I think this is a step in the right direction.
No, I agree. And just a random thing, another thing that I started working on again for my ad, actually it's for all the agents is, we get so many emails from home builders with their current inventory and their current incentives. So I've started working on something that will look through my inbox and filter out the emails that look like they came from home builders with inventory and incentives, and then have a Google sheet on Google Drive that it's putting all that stuff in so then we can see all that stuff listed and not have to filter through all these emails we get from all the home builders. And
That's a great idea. What I want to tell everybody is that the things that Eric's describing sound really complicated, and they're really ingenious, but they're easier to build than you think,
yep.
And I'm not, Eric, I hope you don't take that any way.
Oh, no, no,
I'm,
no, 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 that's true but that's what I'm shielding my team lead from. So when I was talking about stuff today, I was like, oh yeah, and I got to do this with the infrastructure on the back end. I used to work at a software company. So I'm like, oh, I've
yeah,
got to do this, I've got to do that, blah, 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 when really it's not that complicated. And again, since you can ask it for help if you don't understand something, well then
exactly.
it just walks you. If you can read directions and click where it tells you to click, then you can do it.
And I think the other thing I'd say is don't be afraid for it to fail, like meaning try, like, so for example, I mentioned that I'm using Google Apps Script, which is just a built-in Google tool that, can do certain things. It looks like code, it looks very complicated. And I had no clue how to use it probably 6 or 8 months ago. I knew about it and because it's been around forever. But Claude makes all my coding. I literally copy and paste it. I hit run, and if it doesn't work, I then take it back to Claude and it rewrites it for me.
Yeah.
So the point being, I would encourage you guys to not be afraid to try it and then try it again and then try it again. That's where you're really going to start like closing the gap if anybody kind of quote feels behind or anything. It's just not being afraid to try things. So Eric, thank you for sharing that. I don't know, Diane had asked if you could give prompts for those. I think what he's designing, I don't know if those are skills that you're using within Claude. You know, you,
I've been doing a lot of the stuff just in chat, Claude chat, and just describing, what it is, what the problem is that I want it to solve. And then I'm having it initially when I first started working with Claude, I was, kind of giving it free reign to create, whatever the files are like for these web apps that I've been developing. I was having it write the whole thing. But now what I've learned is, once it has like the basic file written, then if changes need to be made to it to add some functionality, to tweak something, to move something, to add another feature, then I'm having it walk me through just where in the code to do that. And then, like you said, I'm just copying and pasting stuff from there. So it'll say in the code, look for this line. I copy it, I do a find that line, and then paste in whatever the new code is. And so it's right. I don't remember JavaScript. I don't remember a lot of the crap that it's, in
Right.
the back end stuff, but I don't have to because it's telling me exactly where to go to make
Well,
those
how do
changes.
you do your calendar? Like that was really a kind of a cool thing. The calendar thing and also scraping and filtering all of your emails for specific things and creating a Google Sheet. I mean, there must be a prompt for that, right? Is that all
That was
code?
just me just describing the issue and then having it walk through, what the proposed solution is. So I told it, I said, we get a lot of emails from home builders that have their inventory and their incentives. I want a way to extract that information to put it into a Google Sheet. Walk me through that. That was it. So all you have to do
And
is really just describe the issue, the pain point, describe, you don't have to describe the solution, but you can say what your ultimate goal is.
And then do
I
you
want it
automate
to,
that? Is it automated every day, once a week?
so the email for the home builder thing, I haven't automated it yet because I started working on it a couple weeks ago and then I just haven't picked it back up again. I've been trying so many different things. I need to like stop and focus on one tool that I'm trying to make first. The morning agenda, I have that automated in CoWork. I had Claude walk me through how to schedule an automation in CoWork, and then I told it what I wanted it to do. You do have to do the connector part if you haven't done that already in the Claude settings, so then it'll connect to your Google account.
That was the other question. Every time I go to do that, I get so nervous about hacks. How do you guys all feel about really giving these AI chatbots so much, like basically the keys to your life?
well, okay. The first thing I'd say is if you're on a free plan, I wouldn't give it anything.
Great.
If you're paying for your AI, I would go in, depending on which one it is, make sure that some of them default, if you start paying it, defaults to not training on you. Some will still train. I think chat is the one you have to really go in and turn off the training once you start paying for it. But Claude and Gemini, I'm pretty sure once you start paying for them, they don't train on you. I still don't give like I wouldn't put in like, social security numbers or like bank account numbers. But in terms of connecting my Google Drive, first of all, in Gemini, it's all under that same umbrella. So do you use Google Workspace?
Yes.
So I would like for anything like what you're talking about, unless you're like maybe intermediate level of comfort with AI and connecting, I would just start in Gemini because you can do what he's describing natively within Gemini and in Google Workspace, and you could tell Gemini a very basic command. And what I would do is I'd have it do a test run. I'd say, I want you to go through my emails, tell me what's urgent, what needs to be addressed, what's hanging out there. I want you to go through my calendar for the next week and tell me what appointments are coming up that I need to either prepare for or be aware of, etc. And then maybe tell it, I want you to search the local news and tell me if there are any developments in real estate I should be aware of. And then have it create that for you, what its output would look like. Then you can tell it, I want you to do this for me every morning at 5:30 a.m. so that when I'm drinking my coffee, I can review it. And it does that for you. I have it doing that for me. And that was before the workspace intelligence thing came out. And so it won't, I don't, when I was doing it, I don't think it would actually initiate a email to me. But it would be sitting in my Gemini and I would just click a button and there it was. So I'd start there, but if you're paying for Claude, I'd feel
Both. I pay
pretty,
for both.
yeah, I feel pretty comfortable allowing the connectors. Claude is
Really?
one of the things Claude's really well known for. Well, first of all, I'm not an attorney. I'm not
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
telling you what my philosophy towards this is based on some degree of looking into it and some degree of I'm am trusting Claude at its word that it's not using my stuff. No one no one can hack your connection to Claude. Like that is a secure connection. You'll want to make sure that you have a strong password to your Claude and that, turn on two-factor authentication or whatever to protect like someone getting your password and getting into your Claude. But as far as like connecting them, I personally don't have any, as long as I'm paying for it, I'm telling it not to train. Um, So yeah, okay. Angel's asking if we can like do this in real time. Do you mean connecting things or like looking at having Gemini do a uh, a
Yes.
Wait,
rundown
one
for
question
us?
though. Are you saying use Gemini, but don't use the Gemini AI intelligence? Like we're not
No, I
using,
would. I
oh,
would
you
use
would.
it. I'm
Okay.
sorry if I'm all
No,
what
I
I
just
was.
didn't understand.
I think maybe what I misspoke about or said was I when I don't use it anymore. Just I wasn't using that functionality, so I just told it to stop. But I was creating that daily rundown in Gemini. I had it doing a scheduled task, and that happened before the intelligence piece was even
Okay.
available. So what I was trying to maybe imply was that it's probably even better now.
Okay.
I'll share my screen and let's just walk through how it looks with Gemini.
Great.
But no one can judge me. I don't know if I have any like, eyebrow waxings tomorrow or something. So whatever happens on this screen, it's going to stay between us and anybody that watches the replay. All right, let's go here. Say, okay. Can you create for me a rundown of the following? Go through my emails, highlight anything urgent or important or anything waiting on my response. Then look at my calendar for the next week and let me know what's coming up that I need to be aware of. And then finally, can you go through and look at any new Lego sets that have been released that I might be interested in building?
This stuff, I'm a techie person, and this stuff still just blows my mind. Like you were saying, what a time to be alive that this
Oh,
is
it's
even
incredible.
possible. I mean, yeah, it's mind blowing.
It's incredible. See, it's looking through my different things here.
Okay, so where are you? You're on GeminiGoogle.com. So I'm thinking Gemini and Workspace is like next to my email page. Is this a different?
I'm so yeah, Angel, I'm really sorry. I don't ever mean to like jump around and make assumptions. So my apologies. I'll show you. This is the exact same as any other Gemini that you have. The only thing you'll want to be aware of is if you have multiple Gmail accounts, pay attention to what's in the upper right-hand corner here
Okay.
because like for me, for example, I have one workspace account for my real estate and my coaching, and then I have a different one for my title business. So I have to pay attention to which one I'm in.
Okay.
But other than that, the Gemini is the same.
Got it.
So let's look at what it brought up for us, and then I promise, Angel, I'll go back through the different ways you can get to Gemini, but it is all kind of like it's all the same thing. The only thing like what I've run into, especially like when I'm working with people in my office, is they'll say, "Oh, I'm not seeing what you're seeing," and then we'll look, and it's because they're in the wrong, they're in their personal Gmail or something,
Got it.
or their personal like Google account, not the workspace. So it's come up with my urgent emails, contract extension, group insurance renewal. Let's see. You need to obtain a lien, obtain a payoff statement. Oh yeah, the 401k. Ugh. Okay. Calendar next week. I'm speaking at the KWAI meetup tomorrow at 10 a.m. Be there or be square. Uh, okay. Yep. Yep. Tuesday. I have a meeting with a advisor. Oh, I'm going to Bagelicious on May 7th. Great spot, guys. You ever know Cali, got to try Bagelicious. No way. Okay, so now my Lego releases. I was sort of joking, but this is kind of exciting. The Mandalorian's in one starfighter. I mean, I know we'll all be in line for that. But so you can see this is what it came up with. And then now I can come down here and what is it doing here? Oh, this is showing me the calendar. Now I can say, can you please run this exact search every day at 5:30 a.m. and send me an email. Let's see if it'll what it says to sending me an email.
I'm glad we covered this because I think I'm going to take this part of it out of Claude now and not use my token allotment and
That
just
honestly, when you start using Claude a lot, you realize token efficiency is like kind of
oh
important.
yeah. Yeah, I'm watching the time all the time. I'm like, oh, I need to wait till after 1 p.m. to work on this. And
It's, yeah, exactly. So see here, it says I've scheduled that for you every day at 5:30 a.m. I'll compile this rundown for you. Ask me to edit or delete your scheduled action at any time. So, Diane, did you see that? And like, I'll copy the prompt, but it's literally just the plain language of, you know, what do you want from it? And so I'll put this in the chat, and then I'll back up Angel, and I'll show you kind of the different ways I jump into this. So
And
if
I
I'm,
guess the question I had for you was,
yeah,
let's
please.
say you had this Google account for a while, the Gmail account. Well, does that mean it's going back to like 2024 for anything you've missed? I mean, how far back do you have to train it to tell it, go back, the last couple weeks and tell me?
I would say because I do have a boatload of unread emails, just based on this, it looks like it goes back sort of a reasonable amount of time.
Okay.
But you could absolutely tell it, go back 7 days, tell me what's up or whatever. You can,
Okay.
it's really dynamic. And like it said down here, it says, ask me to edit or delete your scheduled action at any time. So I could come in and say, now that I've thought about it, can you also tell me the weather for the day? So now it says, yeah, I've updated your 5:30 a.m. rundown to include the weather for the day. So you can have it do whatever you want it, in terms of adding information or whatever. And then you can tell it, hey, I only want you to look at yesterday, or I only want you to look 2 days from now, or whatever. You just mess with it until it looks like how you want it. And then I think if I remember correctly, yeah, your scheduled actions. I don't know if you, so what I did was I just went over to the three bar menu, the hamburger menu over here, the little three bars on top of each other. And then under settings, scheduled actions. So you can come in here and see what actions you have and then turn them on or off at any time. And so then going back to Angel's question, so here's my email, kind of my jumping off point. So if I wanted to access Gemini, um, you can get to it from your little familiar 9 little cubes up here and click on Gemini, or you can just jump into gemini.google.com. You also may have seen, like in my email, there's this, oops, wrong button. There is this star up here which says Ask Gemini. This is a very powerful tool, but it's not the same thing. What I mean is when you click this, it opens this sidebar menu where you can have conversations with Gemini. It can look at your emails that you're looking at and help you with them, write emails, whatever. And in each of your Google tools, so like in Google Docs, you generally have that little star, which brings up the side menu for Google Docs. Again, very powerful, not the same thing as pulling up Google Gemini, and working exclusively in Gemini.
That's where I was confused because I
Yeah.
was like, okay, well, there's the little star, but then you're in a different Google Gemini. Okay, thanks
And
for clarifying that.
no problem. It is a little confusing. So if you're wanting to use Gemini like you would use Chat or Claude or anything of that nature, you're going to want to go to gemini.google.com. If you're in a Word or a Google Doc and you need help with your Google Doc, you can just hit that little button and it'll help you with your Google Doc. It's also incredible for Google Sheets. Like one of my superpowers forever and ever has been that I'm really good in Excel and I know formulas and I can do all of these amazing things. Well, that superpower isn't so super anymore because anybody can go into Google Sheets now and say, I need the date. I have this, I have all these this spreadsheet and it says the date in the cell, but it's not formatted correctly. That is something I could do for you, and I could make a cool formula that would do it. Well, now Google Gemini does it like that, and it's like, okay, now I have to find new skills or something. I'm old, Gemini. I can't learn new things. Stop making me less valuable. Um, yeah, so that's how I would do what we were talking about, Diane and Angel. That's how I got to Google Gemini. So the other thing, and Eric, you may be interested in this as well, that Google has just recently released is called Google Workspace Studio. And what it is, and I pulled it up here somehow. Yeah, there it is. So Google Workspace Studio, let me see if I can open it, like full on open it from here. Oh, do more in Studio. There we go. So Google Workspace Studio it's kind of like Zapier, pretty much exclusively for Google. But anything that you do where, for example, if you were to say, hey, anytime I get an email from a builder, I want you to take that email, extract the information from the email, and add it to a Google Sheet. You could do that with Google Workspace Studio and not have to use a separate third party app that you're paying for. So I would encourage you to kind of play around with that. We may do a class on Google Workspace Studio at some point. I think it might be we're maybe not quite there, all of us, but that's one of the reasons that I'm like, don't bet against Google is they're coming up constantly with new stuff to compete. So
What exactly is Workspace Studio? What would you
I'll give you an
do?
example. All right. So I created this one to demonstrate it on one of the other classes we did. And basically what it does, this is anytime I get an email from this annoying Clay at TrueTitleOcala.com, I want you to summarize the email, and then I want you to create a task with that email. Or you could say, anytime I get an email that contains a contract, I want you to send it to my assistant. Or I don't know, like it's got all kinds of little templates. Get a daily summary of your unread emails. Notify me about emails from key people. You can also have it create tasks. You can have it draft email replies, um, get news headlines, get AI news briefs, anything where it's like, when this happens, I do this would be a candidate to try and create it in Google Workspace Studio. I'm not doing a very good job of explaining it, but the general idea is to take anything that you do on an ongoing, regular basis. So, like if you get an email and you always forward it to someone, or if you get a bunch of newsletters that you don't have time to read, you could tell it, hey, I want you to summarize all these newsletters for me and send it to me in a daily or weekly digest. Those are the kinds of things that you might do with Google Workspace Studio.
Gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome. Like I said, I'm
Now,
not doing a great job of explaining it, but that's what it is.
now that you're
Um,
showing these things, I wonder if Keller Williams has this stuff locked down in our Google Workspace because I'm not seeing Workspace Studio. I'm also not able to schedule the recurrence thing like you did. So,
it could be. I know you guys definitely have. I think maybe you don't have. Do you have Notebook LM? Or there was something
yeah, we
that.
do have
Okay,
Notebook
good.
LM.
But there was something when I was talking with Keller Williams that's kind of locked down. But anyways,
That's fine. I'll go back to Claude and
yeah, right. There you
do
go.
stuff there.
So theoretically, like if I got an email from a new client, could I ask Gemini to add that to my contacts and schedule follow-up, things or add it to my CRM?
Yeah. What CRM?
Lofty and close.
So not natively with Gemini, like not just everything you said up to add to my CRM. Now, here's how I would get around that is I would probably instead of add to my CRM, I would add it to a Google Sheet
Okay.
and then see if my CRM natively integrates with Google Sheet because a lot of them do. But if it doesn't, then there's an app called Zapier,
Uh-huh.
very easy to use, and it does have a free tier. And what Zapier does is it connects apps that don't speak to each other.
Gotcha.
And so you would tell it when, when an item is added to this Google Sheet, put it in Lofty. And when I tell you it's easy to do, it's so easy to do. It's it's easy enough that a big bald 50-year-old guy can do it. So I know
That's
Angel,
encouraging, Clay. Thank you.
you can do it. But no, for real, it is easy. And again, not to sound like a broken record, ask AI to help you with it. It'll
Okay.
walk you through, but it really is. It's super, super, super easy. Um, so everything that you described, you could say, okay, you would want to, it needs to know how you identify a new client. And so again, that may be where what I might do is take my info from Lofty one time, extract that out and put it on a spreadsheet. And then you might tell it, okay, if the person's not on there, that makes them a new client, add them to the sheet, schedule a follow-up in my calendar, and then you would use Zapier to then connect it into Lofty.
Okay.
Ah, stop it. It's not that bad, I promise. I'll record a video.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I'll record a video because I need to do the same thing for my GHL, my Go High level. But it's not as bad as I make it sound. I just try to make myself sound really, really smart. All right, cool. This has been really great. I'm happy to answer any other questions. I really appreciate everybody participating, asking questions. I really love doing this. I just, like I said, I had to take it a little easy this week because of the travel. I wasn't ready to put together a full-blown deal. But this has been really good, man. I loved messing around with Claude Design. I would really encourage you guys to just go in, drop a prompt, see what it comes up with. The thing that I would encourage everybody to do is whatever it is you're curious about, just start playing with it. Especially if you're already paying for it. I'm not telling you sign up for everything, pay for it, and then play with it. But if you're already paying for it, just mess around with it and see what it can do. Test its limits. That's how you kind of learn what all you're capable of through these tools. But if nobody has any other questions, then I'm going to post the replay. I will send out some form of a resource document with some prompts and stuff shortly, and I'll see you
Speaking of
guys.
those resource documents,
Yeah.
Clay, I've received those in the past, but I don't know where to find them now.
Yeah,
Okay.
me too. I was going to ask the same thing.
I will. So I will try and put them into some place in the community, and or I can email them to you guys. What I typically do with mine here, I'll show you real quick. Um, oh, I'm still sharing my screen, so I'll just do it here. And when I
So
say with
is
my,
that your Facebook group, the AI prompts for real estate professionals?
yeah, it is.
Okay, I have no idea how I found it. I'm glad I did. So
Well, no, I appreciate it. Share with others, please. And Eric, I would love it. And all of you, please contribute. Like if you're learning something, I guarantee you someone else in the community would learn from what you have to share. So that would be awesome.
oh yeah, sweet.
So whenever I take a training, so for example, with Jonathan, I have a Jonathan Mass knowledge base, and then I just drop the resource document in here like as it stands. I don't do anything special with it. Wait, let me go back in here. Um, yeah, he gives us these resource documents, so I just put them in my Google Notebook as a source. And then I don't have to ever remember where anything is ever again. I can just go in there and say, what was that GPT he shared, or what was the prompt that we did? And I don't have to even select the training it'll go through all of the trainings and pull the information. So, maybe you should have like a Clay Lehman Google Notebook,
We will now.
That's right. And just drop it in there and say, what did that dummy say about Zapier? So,
Maybe we'll put a picture of you on front of the notebook, right? Right, Angel?
yeah, right. You can
Absolutely.
do that now. That was something that just came out is you can come in here and let's see. No, where is somebody? I saw somebody shared it. No, it's not there. There's somewhere in here where you can create like an image for the top of your and it makes it a lot prettier. So I'll have to, maybe that'll be next week. So we'll figure that out. But anyways, all right, everybody, thank you so much.
Thank
This has
you.
been awesome,
Thank
and I
you.
will talk
Thank
to you
you.
all very soon. Have a great one.
Bye. You too.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.